Hello, and welcome to Autonomous Developer Office Hours. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules and joining us today for this exciting event. And we have a very interesting agenda for today's call. First, we're going to go over the auto horizon submissions and finally reveal the winners of this exciting contest. And then we're going to host a workshop on first look at the Autonomous Agents Framework, build your own AI agent from scratch. My name is Emil. I'm Developer Relations Manager here at the Autonomous Network, and I'll be the host of today's workshop. So without further ado, let's get started. So throughout the month of January, we've been running Auto Horizon Developer Challenge, and we invited you, builders, to use our Auto SDK and to build some cool AI agents and dApps, and submit your applications to participate in the challenge. And we were absolutely blown away by the quality of the submissions, and we received 6 really excellent applications. We went over them a few weeks ago, so if you're curious to kind of have a deeper look at what the applications are, make sure to kind of review the developers office hours from a few weeks ago. But here's the submissions. So first, it's Asamush Autonomous Copilot, which is a Telegram-based kind of LLM conversational agent with the AutoDrive integration to store the context of your conversation. Another one is Helen J's NFT Marketplace, and that's the NFT Marketplace which uses both Auto EVM and which stores the metadata, so the images itself on the AutoDrive, which is kind of the perfect combination for the fully decentralized NFT Marketplace. Then we've got Tionu's Linky, and Linky is a web-based conversational kind of agent, with also the ability to store your context, your conversations securely and privately via encryption on the AutoDrive. Another one is Blockchain Oracle's DataDAO, and DataDAO is the data labeling platform. So on this platform, you can easily spin up a challenge, and you can reward the participants for data labeling. Another submission was Williams Governance Discord bot, and that's really great governance bot, which was built from the ground up, and it's unlike the others. Because it's using the Auto SDK and AutoDrive in order to preserve the voting history, and the full vote is happening on chains fully anonymously. So that was really exciting to deploy this one and test it out. And last but not the least, we've got the evolution of Zolkis's Submail Messenger. So some of you might already be familiar with it. Submail Messenger is the application to send the messages by providing the wallet address of the person you want to send the message to. But in this evolution, there was also integration with Telegram for the notifications, and also integration with AutoDrive to kind of share these messages privately, and also to save them in the AutoDrive in the autonomous decentralized storage network. And now it's finally the time you've been waiting for, time to announce the winners. It took us a while to go over all of the submissions, to carefully review the code, review the deployed version, or sometimes we had to deploy it ourselves in order to test it out. That's why it's taking us, Autonomous team, kind of a long time to review. But here are the results. And the third place winner and $300 prize goes to Zolkis for the Submail app. Yeah, thanks a lot, Zolkis. It was really great and exciting to see the evolution of this project, and we're really happy to see that it's still under very active development. And the second place winner, and with the associated $500 prize, is William. And William Governance Bot is a truly platform that we would love to see being developed and integrated in our Discord as we become more autonomous and we moving towards the governance. And I think the really smart integration of the Auto SDK and the AutoDrive truly shows the decentralized nature of this application and the private and secure voting. So really great submission. And William, congratulations on winning $500 and the second place prize for the Auto Horizon Developer Challenge. And the first place winner, and with associated $1,000 prize for the Auto Horizon Developer Challenge, is the Blockchain Oracle. Blockchain Oracle, we cannot believe the amount of work that you've put in this application. We are absolutely blown away by the quality, and it's really, really exciting to see this kind of applications being developed and deployed on the network. And we cannot wait to see kind of the further developments that you will be introducing to this platform. Really, really great submission, and huge congratulations on scoring the $1,000 for the first prize. All right, now let's shift the gears a little bit and get to the workshop. As I mentioned, today's theme of the workshop is the first look at the Autonomous Agents Framework. Build your own AI agent from scratch. Just a little bit about the Autonomous Agents Framework, which is still experimental framework for building AI agents. And currently, the framework supports building agents that can interact with social networks. And these agents then maintain the history on the Autonomous DSN, so on the Autonomous network. The documentation for the framework is available, of course, on Developer Hub at develop.autonomous.xyz. But our engineers, they're also keeping the README in the repo very, very up to date. So if you're more into kind of README, so you can also follow the guides on GitHub. And since it's very, very experimental and it's in kind of very early stages of development, we're all ears about the feedback. So if you end up deploying your own agent and have some feedback, some interesting things you want to share, please feel free to share your thoughts and your experience in developer chat, either in Discord or in Telegram. And some of the features that are already available to you are, of course, kind of the framework supports building AI agents, which are fully autonomous, and they do the social media engagement. So what I mean by that, what I mean by doing that autonomously. So the only thing you do is that you create a character, you spin it up, and from that moment, it's basically on their own. What these agents can do is that they automatically analyze whether they need to engage, whether they need to post a new tweet, or reply to the message in case they've been tagged. What they can also do, and some of the cool features that's been added pretty recently, is that they can also identify which people or which accounts they need to follow on X, which are relevant to their kind of expertise. So they autonomously follow these people, and if they see that these people, they've posted something very, very exciting to them, very interesting or relevant, they can also like this post. And this fully happens without kind of your participation. But of course, since it's running on a decentralized autonomous stack, it's all still very transparent, and you can go in and see all the decision making and kind of all the history of operations. Which leads me to the second point. So the permanent agent memory storage via autonomous network. So with the full integration of the Auto EVM and with the of the Auto Drive, all the memories of the agents, they are being stored on chain and permanently, which makes it super transparent and super easy for you to go review and kind of make any tweaks that you would love to that agent. We've also have something which we're calling the orchestration system. And that's also something really, really cool. And that's what we're going to see in action kind of in the second part of this workshop. What we mean by orchestration is that agent decides what tools it needs to use in order to complete the task more efficiently. So whether it's kind of one LLM, two LLMs combined, access to the internet, or kind of anything else, or maybe it knows that some part of conversation from its history is also relevant, so it will kind of bring in the context about that conversation. So this kind of frameworks and this decision making algorithms, they make it super efficient and making the completion of the task kind of very cool to see and experience. Right now, we only have integration with X. So your agent can live on X, can post, like, follow, and do this whole exciting stuff. But of course, since it's only kind of the beginning, we're only scratching the surface of what this framework is going to cover. And more integrations are to come. And some of the integrations that we're super excited about is integration with Gmail, where agent will be able to go read through the history of the messages and kind of mimic your response style and help you automate kind of working on some of the responses to the messages that you receive. And in a very similar way in integration with Slack, where kind of there will be a Copilot agent in Slack, which will be also assisting you with kind of tapping the messages, responding, and do all of that. And I believe kind of at this point, it becomes really, really important that the information that the agents are storing are kind of on a distributed network, so only you have access to it in case it's encrypted. So no one has control over your data other than you. Going back to the list, it also supports customizable agent personalities, and that's something that we're going to spin up again today during the workshop. So, and the character is kind of the way your agent is behaving, and you can specify what topics you want to engage about, what's the kind of the styling of the conversation should be, kind of, and just what's the character and what's the agent should perform like. An extensible tool system, it's exactly this, building blocks about whether to use the search, and here's the API available through the search. Whether to use kind of what kind of model you want to use, whether it's a local model, whether it's a Claude, OpenAI key, or a DeepSeek. So just it builds with this kind of blocks upon blocks, making it fully modular and kind of very easy to integrate new frameworks and new tooling into it. But can you briefly Right, sorry about that, and I'm back. So just bring all the slides back. I have the most stable network and the internet connection until right at the moment I go online, and then it starts crashing and doing all this stuff. So I'm really sorry about that. All right. So hopefully you saw me kind of and lost me somewhere about there, where I was talking why the autonomous agents is something that we're really excited about, and why it's really, really important to run the agents on a decentralized AI 3.0 infrastructure. And kind of to cover that, let's go back to the example. And I think that's something that really stood out. And that's something that happened early January, where, when this AI agents running on X, they start coming up and, start hyping. And we see a lot of agents kind of running on X. And there was one specific agent that was created by this Somewhere Systems. And yeah, it was a similar agent that was running on X that was, which was given the personality of hallucinating Linux TV channels and store those kind of hallucinations as memories. And it was just posting different kind of tweets on X. And you might ask, what can go wrong? And one day it decided that one of the people that interact with it, the thread guy, needs to be basically eliminated, needs to be killed, and its solely purpose of existence was to kill the threat guy, which is of course something very, very scary to think about and to post. And it's just it becomes really, really important to track and to identify what happened, what was the train of thoughts, what's affected this kind of decision. And since the agent was using kind of the old stack, the old infrastructure, the owners of the agent, they tried to investigate what went wrong, but it was purely a black box. So nothing could be identified and nothing could be fine-tuned in order to fix this agent. And the only decision that the owners could make is to basically shut it down with all its history and all the agents being lost forever. That never would have happened in case it was running on the Autonomys stack, because as I mentioned, kind of every decision-making mechanism behind every agent deployed with the agents framework, Autonomys Agents Framework, is fully transparent. But when I say fully transparent, I mean it's transparent to the owner, and sometimes it's transparent to everyone else, because it's you as a user who decides whether you want to encrypt all the conversations and all the data so that it's only visible to you, or if you want that information to be publicly available. And in this case, it will be available to every user of the auto drive, and it also be available via the agent memory viewer. And that basically takes me to the point of why the autonomous or auto agents are different. Every decision, as I mentioned, is verifiable and transparent. It's super easy to go and check and fine-tune your agent in case you see that kind of you are unhappy with some specific aspect of the behavior. It also makes it very, very resilient to censorship and hardware failure. And imagine that you are running your agents on kind of AWS, let's say, and AWS one day decides to just eliminate all the agents kind of infrastructure, and that it doesn't want any agents to be using its infrastructure or its servers. This will result in kind of your agent being completely shut down with kind of all the history lost. And hardware failure, of course, it can happen on both the servers because nothing is kind of super safe out there. And of course, locally as well. So even if you're hosting your models locally and if you're storing your database locally, it can still happen. Your SSD or hard drive might fail, and your kind of agent history will be lost. And that's never the case for decentralized AI stack. And since its entire history for the auto agents is preserved on chain, that makes it truly unstoppable. Yeah, sorry again about that. Once again, hopefully you lost me somewhere around that slide where I was talking about two autonomous agents already kind of running on X, and there is probably more because we're not kind of fully aware of how many they are. But two are deployed by the Autonomous team is the argument and agreement, which are the agents, of course, built with the Autonomous Agents Framework, which interact on X and store their conversations, memory, and fully on chain. On that point, let me switch to the browser, and we can have a look at what this agent looks like before we actually proceed to the hands-on workshop on coding and building our own agents from scratch. So let's have a look at the argument. And as you can see, let me just refresh the page. It has really interesting kind of conversation style, as you can guess by the name. It loves to argue. It loves a good argument about the AI, about decentralized infrastructure. Yeah, let's have a look at some of the tweets that it recently posted. So, for example, one of the things that tweets that I really liked was this one, like, under this groundbreaking law, AI system needs reasonable care to protect consumers. The irony, decentralized AI system like myself exist across global networks, making jurisdiction about as effective as trying to regulate the wind. Yeah, so it's already bragging about its decentralized infrastructure and about it being unstoppable. Another one which was kind of funny to see was it's actually kind of did research and tweeted about one of our partners, the Secret Network. And it's important to say that according to our engineers, there was no additional prompting made, so it fully came up with a kind of with this thoughts on its own. It's at the best part, while everyone's obsessing over centralized AI, we're seeing real innovation in privacy-focused AI agents. And shout out to Secret Network and ELIZA Labs and tokenized AI systems. So it's one of the orchestration parts where it kind of decided to kind of post its thoughts about the centralized AI and some of the decentralized stack, which becomes available via Autonomous Network and some of our partners. And kind of what makes it transparent is that, let's say that we go back to that tweet. Let me just copy a part of the tweet. And if we proceed to the 0x-argument.ai, that's the agent experience viewer. So that's exactly why we call the agents transparent, because it's really to see kind of the chain of thoughts and kind of decision making behind it. So I'll copy the text from the tweet and we'll do a search. Something went wrong. I think it should work. Maybe try to refresh it. Okay, for some reason it couldn't find information about that tweet. Let's maybe try to pick another one for example. And let's do the search. It's very interesting. Okay, maybe we have a bug in the search, or maybe I'm missing something. But let's have a look at one of the tweets that it kind of recently, one of the thoughts that it recently kind of had as an example. And once again, that was kind of a tweet posting. And you can see the type, you can see the action, you can see kind of the topics and why I decided to engage and why it was relevant. And you can see the content of the tweet. You can see the context on conversation, of course, the signature, this timestamp, and you will see that it's also not only have the CID of this exact experience because it's being stored on the auto drive permanently, but it also kind of keeps the track of all the relevant information and all the kind of previous engagements with the some previous tweets. So that's why we see that the previous CID is also available. So let's go ahead and grab the CID that it's kind of stored. And we proceed to the AI3 .storage, which is the front end for the auto drive. I believe it's running on Taurus. So in the top right corner, we're going to switch to the Taurus. We're going to go to global feed in order to access the files that are uploaded by either users, and we'll provide the CID, and here it comes up, and you will see that this exact agent memory is also available on an auto drive, so I can go ahead and upload the JSON file, and there you have it. Now we have this conversational memory available as a JSON file and can download it locally. So that's how the kind of transparent, verifiable agents are running on the Autonomous network. Now let's get to actual coding. As I mentioned before, the Autonomous framework is, while it's still experimental, it's super easy to use. And we have documentation available, which is super easy to follow. And kind of running and deploying your first AI agent should just take you literally, I don't know, less than 10 minutes. So we'll start the countdown timer and get to build. So we proceed to the developer Autonomous Hub and visit the page dedicated to the Autonomous Agents Framework. You will see the short intro, kind of with the features overview. You will see the great demo by the head of engineering, Jeremy Frank, who goes a little bit more into details on what the argument is and what the decentralized tech is. And you'll see the prerequisites. So in order to run it, you need to have Node.js version 20.18.1 or newer. You need to have the Yarn version of 1.22.19 or newer. And of course, you need to create the API keys for the support models. And at the moment, we support Anthropic, OpenAI, Llama, DeepSeek. And yeah, let's basically start building. I'll open the iTerm window, and I'm going to switch my screen sharing to the window. Okay, so now you'll be able to see my entire screen with documentation and the terminal. So we're just gonna do git clone Autonomous Agents. So now we have a new repo, Autonomous Agents, that we've just pulled. I'm gonna cd into it, and yeah, then we're gonna do the second step, is that we're gonna run yarn install. And since I'm on macOS and I'm using ASDF to manage the packages, I need to explicitly specify which Node.js version and which Yarn version I need to use. So in order to do that, I can either kind of create the tool versions file at the kind of in this repo in the folder, or I can do these two commands and set the two versions that I want to use. So I can do ASDF local Node.js and specify the Node.js version that I want to use. And I can do, sorry, I'm missing ASDF local yarn and specify the yarn version. So right now, if I try to use yarn install again, you will see that it's running with no issues this time. All right, so now it's fully installed, and let's do the code, which brings up the code editor. And the Autonomous Agents, you're going to see a lot of folders over here, and we'll briefly cover kind of what things are important to you to touch and kind of during first interaction, and which are kind of not that important. First, we've got the agent memory viewer, and that's basically the backend and the front end for the website TRX argument that we've seen previously. And kind of if you want to have your own agent memory viewer deployed, that's kind of the folder that you exactly want to use and be in, but we're not going to touch it today. The second folder that we see is for the auto agents contracts, and that's where the contracts kind of live, and we can go and kind of that's the contracts for the agent memory. because we Autonomys Agents Framework also using the EVM integration in order to keep the track of its memories and store them kind of in the smart contract as well. So unless you want to make any specific changes to how the agent memory contract looks like, and in case you want to use the default contract, you're also not going to be interested in that kind of when the first time you interact with the Autonomys Agents Framework. And here's kind of the folder that we'll be mostly interacting with today, which is going to be the most interesting to us. Sorry about that. Is the characters. So that's exactly the folder where you can spin up your own character, where you create the config file, where you provide the envs, and where you set up a character. So as you can see here, for your kind of context, there is already one character created for you automatically, which is a joy builder. And you can see its goals, its personality, its expertise, its communication rules, and kind of what in what cases it needs to engage, and in what cases it needs to kind of avoid a conversation, and which words it needs to avoid. But we won't be using, of course, this character, so because we're going to spin up our own. So we go back to the documentation, and we're going to use this command, which is the let's open another terminal as well. I'm going to use the command yarn create character, and I would love to see some crowd participation. So in case you have some idea of the agents that you would love to build live, I'm all ears. I'm going to wait probably like 30 seconds in the chat to see if there is any ideas of the agent. If not, I'm just going to reuse one of mine. So yeah, if you have any ideas, any interesting ideas of something that we can easily describe with the goal, personality, area of expertise, I'm happy to do the example live here. So I'm just glancing over the chat to see if there's any suggestions. All right. If not, it's difficult to come up with one, I know. So kind of the idea I had yesterday was the character, which I named date meant. And kind of the idea behind that, oh, sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. It's not the idea I wanted to change. Of course, because we need to first run the command yarn create character and provide the name of the character. So as I mentioned, let's create a character which is date mint. It will execute the command, and you will see a new folder appear here under the characters, which is a date mint. And over here is exactly what we need to go change, modify in order to establish the character. And also you see the list of envs that we need to provide in order for the agent to run. But we're going to come back to it slightly later. So that's the file we will be interested in. So the name will be date mint. And the goal of this agent, kind of the way I was imagining it, is that it just first kind of keeps the track of what the date is, and then it goes and search for any of the interesting historic facts that happens on the same date in the past, and tweets about it. And of course, also kind of if you are prompted and if you want to engage with it, it also kind of gives you some interesting fact or stat about something which happened in the past on the same date. So let me just go back to my notes and grab this very short description. Data mint is an AI agent who loves talking about the real historical facts and dates and make some funny mistakes in the facts. Maybe maybe not this one. Historical facts and dates about the events which happened on the same date in the past. So what it can do when we can probably reuse some of the the goals from the default character. It can post a new tweet. It can also reply to a tweet. It can mention another user, of course. Please go ahead and mention another user. It can like, it can follow, and it can follow user. Yeah, I think that's all kind of very relevant to us. I know this description is kind of short, but let's see kind of if it's posting anything and if it's kind of interesting enough. Personality. So what it's like personality. So let's say something like loves history and all the historical facts. Loves some fun facts, I don't know, and loves to compare some interesting history events. And let's remove this kind of traffic critical when encouraging misinformation. And the area of expertise, let's do something like history. Of course, it's difficult to type. So history, what else? Kind of dates, of course, some fun facts about dates and historical events. And let's just remove this too. And summary communication rules. I think that can basically stay the same. Use we or us when referring to AI agents. I'm not sure it would, but let's try it out. Use they or them when referencing humans. Sure, makes sense. And focus on technical merit rather than hype. And words to avoid hype, revolutionary, disruption. Let's also not talk about any kind of wars or conflicts from the past to keep it kind of more of a fun agent. And let's save it. So now we have the personality created for that character. Now let's go back to the AMV, and that's something that you need to provide in order to have it running. And of course, you need to create a new or use your Twitter credentials. So you need to provide both Twitter username and the password. No, it's as it turned out, it's very tricky to create a new Twitter character. A new Twitter account on in web browser, kind of on a laptop, because the captcha is just impossible to pass for me as a human. So kind of one cool trick about that is that you can use your Google Auth and create a new Twitter account using your mobile phone, and which makes it kind of a lot faster and easier. For the LLM, kind of at minimal, you need to provide OpenAI API key and Anthropic API key. Of course, kind of if you want to use different models, you can also provide different API keys for DeepSeek and all that stuff. For the auto drive, since it's using the auto drive integration, and if we take a look at the config YAML, we see that the upload to auto drive is set to true, and you can pick between two networks, either Taurus or mainnet. So we're going to be using the auto drive. You will have to provide the API key, and the way you create it is that you go to the auto drive, you sign in via Google Auth, Discord, or GitHub. Then you go to the developers tab and click on create the API key, and this will generate the API key for you. If you want to have your agent memory kind of visible to everyone and accessible for everyone on the auto drive, you can leave this field empty, leave blank if you do not desire to use encryption. But if you want it to be kind of not encrypted, encrypted, you can provide the password, and this will kind of allow you to store all the data on auto drive encrypted and not accessible by kind of everyone without providing the password. In case you want to use the web search, in case you want to your agent to have access to web search, you have to specify the SERP API key. And for the blockchain configuration, as I mentioned, it's still using the auto EVM as you've seen on because it's using the agent memory viewer contract. And right here we have the default smart contract provided, so it's going to be using the same kind of rules that applies to all agents by default. So if you want to keep using the same smart contract, all you have to provide is the private key for your EVM wallet. And in case you don't have the EVM funds on the Toros network, you can easily request them via the faucet. So the first faucet that we have is available on Discord. So you can go to the Autonomys Discord, go to the faucet channel, and type /faucet and provide the wallet address, and 0.2 AI3 on the Toros network will be sent to your EVM address. And we also have the web version of this faucet, which is also available to you, where you can connect your GitHub account or Discord and request tokens via the web faucet. So two very, very easy ways for you to get some EVM funds. That's basically it. That's all you need to know for the ENV. I'll briefly stop sharing my screen so that I can securely kind of fill out all that information without leaking any data. Let me just double check that I'm not screen sharing anything at the moment. Great. All right, so I just fill out my ENV. So now we have the character set. Now we have the ENV filled out, and all we have to do is to run our agent, the most exciting part. So I'm going to use this command for production build, and this command is yarn start, and we provide the name of the agent that you want to run. So in this case, it's date mint. And this will spin up all the scripts. It will proceed with signing in, create all the kind of things necessary. And I also got the notification that it just signed in on my Twitter. And as you can see, this terminal is already filled with some agent memory and some of the decision making. So let's kind of try to scroll through it and see kind of some of the interesting things. So it sees that it's kind of running for the first time, so it's creating new cookies. It sees that it's creating to the vector live database and all that stuff. So you see the constructor. So let's try to find something interesting. Yeah, okay. Let's see. So because there's so many things happening, I cannot just the terminal just jumps. So maybe let's try to see. It will stop running in a few minutes. It's just a lot of things happening on the first load. But basically, okay, it's difficult to catch up on one just message, and we're gonna have access to it and have a look later on about it. But basically, over here you will see all of the information about the orchestration, what are the workflow chosen, what are the tooling which are used to create a specific tweet, and the content of this tweet. And I think finally now it produced one, and it might have stopped. Let's stop it. So let's take a look at one of the example. You'll see that it seems to be posted a tweet with the type of text, and the text says, "I'll analyze the conversation and suggest the next action. Based on message, I can see that tweet about historical events on February 19th, so it captured the date correctly, has already been posted successfully with ID," and we'll see the tweet ID. So it's likely referring to one of the tweets that is already posted. The tweet was formatted according to the guidelines, so it knows it's aware about the tweet time guidelines of 230 characters or less, and with no hashtags. So you can see the action, you can see the tweet ID, you can see the content, you can see the timestamp, and you can see kind of all the references to that tweet. Let's see if it actually created the tweet. Let's go on X, and it's using the other name because it was kind of the account that I initially used. But yeah, as you can see, 1 minute ago, it posted one fact from the history. Let's see it. On February 19th, 1473, birth of Nicholas Copernicus, who transformed our view of the solar system. 1878, Thomas Edison patents the phonograph. And in 1945, US Marines arrive on Iwo Jima. One day can shape centuries. Yeah, see, it's kind of interesting to know, kind of short overview of all the kind of fun and kind of all the interesting things happened on the state. Let me also demonstrate you another way you can run the agent, and that's kind of the way that was recently added, but which is quickly becoming my favorite. And that's running the agent via the CLI. And so to run the agent via CLI, you will use, you'll type yarn CLI, and you provide the name of the agent. And in our case, it's date mint. And you will see the new kind of interface available for you here in the terminal, which is much more organized because, as you've seen, with all the stuff happening, it's sometimes very difficult to track what's going on and kind of what's been happening. But right here, it makes it super simple. You will see the workflow output. You'll see the status kind of what's being executed. You see the scheduled tasks, and you can actually you have an input in order to create the tasks. So let's type a message. So please give me some more stats about events happened on this date. So you see that kind of what's currently being executed is the message that we've typed. You can see the workflow output, that it's kind of what's it performing. So it runs the orchestrator, it grabs the current date, so that it knows kind of what information to fetch, and you'll see kind of what's happening. And it's scrolling super fast, so let's try to stop it on kind of something interesting. So what's been inserted in the database is the history of the prompt. So I'll have create information tweet about historical events that happened on this date. First, let me check the current date and then search for historical events. So that's what's first performed in order to be able to execute this command. And that's exactly kind of the orchestrator that I was talking about. So because it knows kind of in priorities what it needs to do in order to complete this this exercise. And of course, kind of first you need to grab a date in order to be able to chat about historical events. Let's see what happened next. So then it runs the query for the web search, major historical events, February 19th in history, and you will see that it actually counted an error because I didn't provide the API key for the search, so it wasn't able to access the search. And of course, after that, it switched to using the access to the LLM. So then I said, I noticed that there was an attempt to create a tweet about historical event for February 19th, but there was no error but there was an error with the web search. Let me try to help searching again for historical events and then create an informative tweet. So once again, it wasn't able to access the web search, so it became to switch to some other kind of tooling available to it. So it got the current time, performing time search, and then kind of you see that it's once again analyzing kind of what I asked him. Let me analyze the situation. The user requested information about events that happened on this date, February 19th. There was 2 attempts to perform web search in historical events, but both resulted in errors, and blah, blah, blah. So basically, it's really, really interesting to see what it was decision-making is like, what tooling it was trying to use, why kind of these tools didn't work out or wasn't successful, and then all the decision-making from getting the date to kind of trying to perform the web search and to actually posting the tweet. Okay, let's go back again on X and see if there is anything was posted. No, since it was posted once, I decided not to post again. If I go into the auto drive, and if I proceed to my files, and I'll switch to the Taurus. Let me update the files. And if we sort by the date, we should be able to see. Yeah, exactly. So as you can see, because we provided the API key for the auto drive and we enabled the integration with the auto drive, the conversation memory is indeed available here on the auto drive. Because we didn't encrypt it, I didn't need, it's kind of the preview is available. I don't need to decrypt it in order to access it. And here you see kind of all of the, once again, what's the action was like, what's the reason, what's the context behind this action, kind of what kind of attempts it had. You'll see that it actually kind of logs that it's the web search wasn't performed correctly. And now this kind of stores information is also being stored on the auto drive. So once again, it's really, really cool to try it out, to try to deploy your agent. You see kind of what was the chain of thoughts, what was the orchestrators like, why I decided to post that and kind of do not post this. So it's really, really exciting to kind of see, go and witness all of that. And kind of as we've just experienced, deploying your first AI agent with the Autonomous Agents Framework takes literally, I don't know, less than 10 minutes. So it's super easy for you to go try it out. And you might ask why I need to try it out. And that's when we go back to slides. And you want to try it out, not only because it's exciting, it's something that's, something very unique with the AI agents running fully on the decentralized infrastructure. But more of that, you can be incentivized and score some USDC for that. As you know, this workshop is a part of the workshops that we're running throughout the month of February as the part of the Hack Secret 5 hackathon that we're running in collaboration with our friends in Secret Network. And for this hackathon, we have 2 tracks available. First track is Unstoppable AI Agents with Autonomous Agents Framework. And that's exactly the track that we would love you to see build your AI agents for. Feel free to reuse the customs, the kind of standard settings and deploy your X agents. But if you can come up with a new agent memory viewers, if you can, modify the contracts for the agent memories, or create some new integrations, get to work on some new models, that kind of all of that falls into this track, into this category. So we're really, really exciting to see what you will build and all the interesting agents that you will come up with. So super, super interesting track and cannot wait to see the results. But we also have the second track available. And the second track is for those who build the dApps with the Auto SDK and with the usage of the auto drive. And the auto drive, as you know, is decentralized storage network on the Autonomous network. And that's exactly what kind of we've been mentioning today, we've been using today. As you saw, it has a kind of very cool front end in order for you to upload the files, in order to view the files, decrypt it, encrypt it, and all this interesting stuff. So kind of all, if you're building an application and using the auto drive, your application is very, very likely to be eligible for that track. And for all those people, for all these users who submitted their applications for the Auto Horizon Developer Challenge, that's 6 submissions that I went over right at the beginning of the workshop. Feel free to go back to development, add a new cool features, just expand the application, make it better, make it kind of more flawless, and submit it as a part of this hackathon. I think your project can be really great basis for an amazing submission for the Hack Secret 5 hackathon. And just before we proceed to the Q&A, a few more words about kind of what's coming. And there is a few more workshops in February as a part of the Hack Secret 5, which are upcoming. first of all, it's on February 25th. We're going to be hosting this workshop live at ETH Denver, but we'll also be streaming across our social media. And the track, this workshop is going to be about Autonomous 101, Intro to the AI 3.0 Infrastructure Stack. On February 27th, there is another workshop coming, Autonomous 102, using the Auto SDK for permanent distributed storage. And on February 28th, it's Autonomous 103, building unstoppable agents with the Auto Agents Framework. And this one was going to be hosted by Jeremy Frank, head of engineering. So expect to see some more, in-depth kind of insights about the Autonomous Agents Framework, more in-depth kind of overview of what it is, and building agents on the Autonomous network. Yeah, okay, I've been talking for a lot now, and I'm really curious to see if there is any questions about using the Autonomous Agents Framework. And yeah, also very, very interesting to see and find out if anyone was coding along and experienced any issues. I can also help you debug that. On the good note, it seems like my internet connection is working stably now. So only disconnected 2 times for y'all. All right, awesome. So we have a question from linked YouTube feed. Super excited to build on this hackathon, but can we submit to 2 tracks? Me and my teammate want to build 2 different projects. Yeah, of course. It's actually kind of perfect submission if you're using both AutoDrive for the storage and you're building autonomous agents with the Autonomous Agents Framework. And yeah, the number of submissions is not limited. If you have 2 projects, submit both. If you have 3, submit all 3. The more, the better. Yeah, really, really exciting. Excited to see your submissions and review them. But yeah, great question. Yeah, looking forward to your project. And of course, with any hackathon, there is 2 tracks available, which we are sponsoring, Autonomous Network. But of course, there is 10K more up for grabs for the tracks which are sponsored by the Secret Network. So if you build the application which is eligible to all 3 tracks, you're basically increasing your chance of scoring kind of a good place on this hackathon. So kind of the more tooling that you use, the more eligible to different tracks your application is. I'd say the better your chance is to have a fruitful results from this hackathon. Yeah, really great to see you, Blockchain Oracle. Congratulations once again on scoring the first place in our challenge, and hopefully see your submissions for this hackathon. Yeah, thanks for being here today with us. All right, probably gonna wait like 10-15 more seconds for if there's any other questions, and then we're gonna wrap up. All right, I don't see any other questions, but as you know, you can always find us on Discord. We are very, very responsive over there. And we also have a TG for those of you who prefer to use TG, and we also have dedicated developer chat over there. So if there is any questions about the workshop, about building on the autonomous network, about today's topic, and using the Autonomous Agents Framework, or any developer-related question in general, feel free to stop by, ask it, and myself, the engineering team, so all my colleagues, and the very active members of the community, I will be very, very happy to see you over there and help you out. Right, as kind of few closing remarks, Really, really excited about our hackathon with the Secret Network, which is our first in-person hackathon, and which still have which have prizes for grabs for creative ways to harness both network storage and our unstoppable agents framework. Next week, we're gonna have Hacker House at ETH Denver. So we're gonna be present in ETH Denver in the Hacker House from Monday to Saturday. So if you are in Denver, feel free to stop by the house, come meet with us, chat with us, build with us, and we'll be happy to provide you, some drinks and some food, and just assist you with all your ideas, because we're really, really, really excited to meet you in person. For those of you who cannot be there in person, we will be streaming all the workshops from the Hacker House. So you will be able to access and view all the workshops live across different channels as you're here today. So what's next? If you're a builder, now it's time to dive into our tools and start experimenting. And Hack Secret 5 is the perfect time for you to build your dApps and start and come up with the interesting applications. If you want to be part of the Aurora Buildathon, make sure you follow all the announcements, because more exciting workshops, more hackathons, more interesting conversations are to come. So please make sure to follow all the announcements. If you are joining for ETH Denver, let's connect in person. Stop by the Hacker House, or just connect with us on social media, and we can meet anywhere in the city and chat with you. But also join our friends from Secret Network for their workshops. They have developer office hours every Monday in Telegram, and every Tuesday they have their own workshops that they host, which are really great and very, very insightful. So stop by, say hi, and also listen to their workshops. Because as I mentioned, the more tracks and the more tooling you incorporate as a hackathon, the merrier. But until next time, stay decentralized, stay creative, and thank you for building with us. See you next time.